They were navigators, warriors, craftsmen, and traders, but that is only the surface. Beneath the epic image the modern world has built of the ancient Norse people, there exists a hidden universe deliberately concealed, filled with forbidden rituals, enigmatic symbols, practices that flirt with the invisible, and traditions that survived only as dangerous fragments of a broken memory. What you are about to hear is not found in school textbooks. It is not the clean, heroic version usually shown. It is the side they themselves feared. Imagine a Norwegian fjord on a moonless dawn. The dark water reflects nothing. The wind blows like a lament. At the top of a rock, a man stares into the void with half-closed eyes. Around his neck hangs a twisted silver amulet associated with a practice called seer, a form of sorcery many feared. Men who practiced seer were seen as dangerous figures, deviants, almost cursed. This magic carried a sense of something winding and distorted, as if it bent reality in secret. And according to medieval texts and sagas, it seemed far too real to be mere superstition. It was said that seer allowed visions of the future, manipulation of an enemy's destiny, summoning of spirits, inducing despair from afar, and even influencing battles without lifting a sword. Modern historians attempt to explain these practices as forms of hypnosis, rhythmic chanting, or altered states of consciousness. Others suspect the use of hallucinogenic substances, but what intrigues most is that while many cultures left only myths, the Norse left physical artifacts that support the presence of something unusual. Among the most mysterious figures were the Vavlor, women regarded as prophetesses and deep practitioners of seer. In several graves, archaeologists found long iron staffs, some shaped like hooks, others twisted at the ends. For decades, scholars tried to understand their purpose. Were they cooking tools, weaving implements, musical instruments? But the sagas were clear. These staffs were instruments of magic, used in rituals of trance and prophecy. For the Norse, destiny was a woven fabric, and the Vavlor manipulated it as if pulling invisible threads. The mysteries continued in their writing. The runic alphabet, which many people believe they understand, also hid secret layers. The runes were not merely letters, they were forces. They were runes of war, runes of terror, runes of absolute protection, runes of absolute protection, runes of death. And the most curious part is that archaeologists have found inscriptions that do not correspond to any known runic system. These symbols appear in no manuscript, no stone slab, no saga. They seem to be codes intended only for ritual use. Many were found in disturbing contexts: isolated graves, weapons buried far from bodies, amulets broken in half as if used to their limit. This darker side of Norse belief also appears in rituals involving the dead. The Norse believed that some corpses did not rest. These beings were called draugr, the dead who returned with unnatural strength, driven by hatred, territorial instincts, or vengeance. It may sound mythical, but the graves tell another story. Some bodies were found with huge stones placed on their chests, as if to pin them to the earth. Others were pierced with iron stakes. There are inverted burials, dismembered bodies, and multiple corpses arranged in unnatural positions. These were not punishments, they were precautions. Ancient texts describe draugr as beings capable of harming livestock, following specific individuals, and even destroying entire homes. To prevent this, rituals involved tying the legs of the corpse, burning parts of the skin, hiding the body far from settlements, or marking the grave with protective symbols. Even more unsettling were ceremonies meant not to ward off the dead, but to consult them. The Vavlor would enter trances over tombs, supposedly speaking with ancestors to obtain visions. Archaeologists have found wooden platforms placed above certain graves precisely as described in old writings. Magic also appeared in the chants known as galdr, hypnotic sounds crafted to induce altered states of mind. They were repetitive, deep, and disturbing. They were never written down. Recording galdr was forbidden. Power lived in the voice, not the symbol. Today, researchers attempt to reconstruct these chants. People exposed to these reconstructions report strange sensations, sudden anxiety, and brief visions. Perhaps it is suggestion. Perhaps it is rhythm, or perhaps it is something that still moves through the human mind in ways we do not understand. If you enjoy explorations like this is a good moment to leave your like, as it helps the channel continue bringing hidden stories like this. Another profound belief of the Norse was the prophecy of Ragnarok, the end of all things. Ragnarok was not just a final battle, it was the collapse of reality itself. Symbols associated with this destruction appear on ritual objects: amulets showing wolves devouring suns, giant serpents encircling worlds, masks depicting dying gods, and inverted runes representing chaos. For the Norse, the end of the world was not a metaphor, it was a possibility, and some believe that certain practices of seer could foresee or even trigger this cosmic rupture. Their connection to the unseen extended to the sea. There are accounts of ships vanishing after entering dense fog, accompanied by inexplicable sounds. Some sagas describe the sea as singing, as if something alive moved beneath it. Runic inscriptions found on some ships appear to request spiritual protection, as though the danger expected was beyond storms or enemies. The most fascinating part is that, For the Norse, these phenomena were not fantasy. They believed in these powers deeply. For them, the physical world and the spiritual world were layers of the same fabric. There was no separation between the visible and the invisible. Seer runes, rituals, chants, and precautions with the dead were expressions of this complete view of existence. That is why many of their symbols remain. They were buried deeply but not erased. Today, when archaeologists find broken amulets, magical staffs, impossible inscriptions, and graves marked by unusual precautions, it feels as if the Norse are reminding us of something. The North guards secrets that challenge modern logic, and some of them might prefer to remain hidden. If you enjoyed this immersion into the hidden side of ancient Norse culture, leave your like and subscribe to Mundo Lista. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next mystery.